Hi guys, it's Ty and welcome back to my channel. So I'm doing something today that I don't normally do on this channel and something that I low-key don't like to do, but that is a end of the year TBR. So all of these books are books that I want to read by the end of the year. Now, if you're new to this channel, I have mentioned it a couple of times in like various videos where I explained why I don't like TBRs, but I'll go ahead and explain it again. I don't like to do TBR videos because I am the true definition of a mood reader. I never know what I want to pick up. I truly pick up books when I am in the mood for them. And anytime I have made a TBR, I've done it like last year or the year before last, where I was doing like seasonal TBRs, it stressed me out. Anytime I had something on the TBR, I just felt like I absolutely had to read it. I couldn't stray from the TBR. And it just kind of took down my mood with reading, because if it was on the TBR and I felt like I had to read it, but I might not have been in the mood to read it, then my enjoyment went down. So it was a mess. So I decided that I just was not going to do any more TBRs. Now, the only reason why I decided to do this end of the year TBR, is because at the beginning of this year, there were some series that I wanted to start. There were some series that I wanted to continue on with or finish, but I just have not been doing a really good job with keeping up with that. So I figured, why not make this TBR video? Because if I put them on a TBR, then it will force me to read these books. So here we are. All of the books that I'm going to talk about, there's only 6. They are either the start of a fantasy series or the continuation of a fantasy series. And I only have one book that's considered young adult fantasy. The rest are adult. So we will go ahead and get started. So the first book that I want to start that's a part of a new series is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This wasn't on my list of books to read at the beginning of the year, but when this came out, I was really excited for it. So I want to go ahead and read it, especially because the second book in the series is coming out in November. So that is going to force me to finally pick this book up. Now, I did wait a little while, obviously, to read it because there was so much hype around this book when it came out. And at first, when all the reviews were coming out, they were extremely positive, which really made me excited. But then slowly, as time has gone on, the reviews have not been as positive, especially when I go off the reviews from people that I follow who are really into fantasy. So it just made me really nervous to start this because I really don't know what I'm gonna think. But I still wanted to pick this up, so I am. This one follows our main character, Violet. She is about to attend this college, and at this college, it is like divided up into 4 quadrants. What she wanted to actually go to the school for was to be a scribe, but her mother, who is a general, wants her to be a dragon rider. And in this world, being a dragon rider is extremely dangerous, and from the looks of it, nobody thinks that Violet is going to survive. So with that being said, I'm really excited to start this still. I'm just really curious to know what I'm going to think. So then next up, we have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is the one that's considered a young adult fantasy. It is the first in a series. I have had this book on my shelves for a long time, but not even this book. I have the entire series on my shelves, and they've just been sitting there, and I'm like, okay, I'm finally going to at least start this series by the end of the year, if not possibly finish it, because these books aren't really that long. But this one follows our main character, Jude. She is a human. Her parents were murdered, and I believe some of her siblings were taken by this fake court, and then Jude gets wrapped up in this fake court, and I believe there's like a lot of politics, a lot of deception. I've heard really good things about this book, and I've heard really good things about the series overall, and this really sounds like something that is going to be right up my alley. So hopefully I can get to this finally by the end of this year. So next up, we have Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. It's another first book in a series, I believe. There's only 2 books out. I actually have both of the books that are currently out right now. But you probably have seen me talk about this a couple of times because I keep saying that I'm going to read this book, or I'm so excited to get to it. I have not picked it up yet, but I am determined to read this by the end of the year. So this one follows our main character, Tao. He has had some tragedy in his life. I believe somebody that he's close to, or maybe some family members were killed, I'm not sure. But he wants to get revenge. And this has a lot of like fight scenes. It has to deal with a lot of military stuff. So again, this is a book that So in the beginning, I heard really good things about this book. A lot of people enjoyed it. It was like a booktube darling. And then over the years since it's been out, the reviews have been pretty mediocre. So I'm hoping that I will enjoy this, but right now, I'm just really not sure, but I still want to read it. So next up, we have Gardens on the Moon by Erikson, another first book in a series. I think this is like a 10-book series. But my friend Ryan bought me this book, I think for Christmas last year. And I told him that I was going to get to this. He asked me every so often, have I started it? Because he really wants to chat about it because he really enjoyed this book and I just have not picked this up. So if out of all these books that I'm talking about today, this is the one that I at least need to start by the end of the year so that I can finally talk to him about it. But I'm also really, really nervous to jump into the series because people have said, like, when you start this book, you are just dropped right in, you don't know what's going on, and by the end of it, it still sounds like people don't know what's going on. So I like to know what's going on in books that I'm reading. So I'm really nervous about this, and I can't even tell you what it's about because the synopsis on the back doesn't really give much. And then when I listen to other people's reviews, I still can't get a grasp on what this is about. So this is going to be a really interesting reading experience for me. So the last two books that I'm going to talk about are books that I want to continue on in series. First one being Shadows of Self by Brandon Sanderson. This is the second book in the Mistborn Era 2 series. I think last year I read the first one around this time. It was fine. We follow two characters, Wax and Wayne, and this is like set like hundreds of years after Mistborn Era 1. And I just thought it was fine. It didn't blow me away. Obviously, I wasn't rushing to pick up the next book in the series, not like I was when I read Mistborn Era 1. But this one just has a really different tone to it. It's like a Western kind of. There's a lot of humor in it. And I mean, it's fine. I still want to go ahead and read it, but my hopes aren't high in terms of my enjoyment. But hopefully I will enjoy it because, like I said, I did enjoy the first one, just nowhere near as much as I enjoyed the books over in Mistborn Era 1. And then the last book that I have here is The Bone Shard Emperor by Andrea Stewart. And the first book in this series, I really loved. I gave it a 5 stars last year, and that was The Bone Shard Darter. And it was just something new. The magic was new in terms of like it dealing with bone shards. So I was really excited to get to this one. But I've just heard really mediocre things about the next book in the series. People who have really enjoyed the first one, like me, did not seem to really enjoy this book or the book after. It's a trilogy. So I'm just really hesitant to start this. But again, this is one of the ones that I want to read by the end of the year. So those are all of the books that I am most definitely trying to read by the end of the year. Of course, there are some others that I would like to start, but those are the main ones that I am going to try and finish. So wish me luck. You guys can let me know down in the comments if there are any books that you are trying to read by the end of the year. And if you have read any of these that I have mentioned, let me know your thoughts. But I will see you guys next time. Bye.